the family?
I would say if you're a family that's involved in the church and you're struggling, or you're a family that wants to go to church or had previously gone but no longer is because it's just been impossible with your son or your daughter, I would encourage you to take a very bold step. And I know that there's a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of times you've been disappointed, but I would approach a pastor and church leaders and say, I want to tell you what it's like to have a family situation with disability. I want to attend here, but here's the things that are working against me to be able to attend. How could we together work something out where my child can prosper and thrive, and I also can be at church, and everybody can win in this situation? So it's gonna take a little bit of boldness on a family's part to do that. But I think that when a family truly tells the story of what they're facing, what their challenges are, it's a pretty cold-hearted person that would refuse. So I think you have a chance at that point to work something out.
What if the church that person goes to has no like knowledge or maybe they don't see it the same way, because maybe they think, oh, like what you said earlier, that maybe they don't understand, so why do we need to use the resources when say maybe if we had volunteers, we direly need them for this ministry or that ministry. So what would you say to that family if it's like a closed door?
That's the tough thing, and what you just expressed, those attitudes are very prevalent in churches, and it takes someone in that church who's a champion to advocate for people with disabilities. So in my own background, when we started our first ministry with kids with disabilities, it was the very first ministry in Young Life with disabilities. So it existed nowhere. And for 14 years, it was very resistant. We had 5 ministries going on. Young Life did not understand us, did not embrace us. And there came a certain point, as we stayed the course, where some people began to become behind us and began to understand us. And they said, we want to start this in our city. And that's how it grew. I mean, it grew from nothing, and not only from nothing, but from people resistant to it, to 300 ministries in the U.S. So I would say to the family that the hard thing is staying the course, continue to knock on the door, but I would really look for advocates that would come alongside with you that will continue to knock on the door of the church and go, we want our rightful place. And I would say to on the other side of this, to the leadership in the church with some of these objections, I would say that the Luke 14 passage about the parable of the great banquet is a mandate. It's not an option. It's not an option about bringing the blind, the crippled, the lame, and the poor. Jesus made it clear. 70% of the Gospel chapters, Jesus is encountering someone with a disability. This is John 9:3, the man born blind, and the disciples say, who sinned, this man or his parents? Jesus said, no one sinned. They were born this way for the glory of God. People with disabilities, because they're created in the image of God, which is true of all of us, have the same rights to be in the family of God. The church should be the very first place at the forefront of our culture that embraces them and says there's acceptance with Jesus Christ, because everyone is in the image of God. So I would challenge any church leaders that disagree with that to really re-examine the scriptures and their faith, because these are people in the image of God. Christ died for them, and they have the same hopes, dreams, fears as any one of us have in this world.
Can you give me like maybe another 3 more verses so I can just quote them?
Yeah.
Just the verse numbers.
Yeah. That one was John 9:3, on the man born blind.
In addition.
In addition. I would say Mark chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, which is a story of the 4 friends with a paralytic, and they lowered him through the roof.
I'll look it up, but I mean just the verse
numbers.
Oh, you
just got the verse?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mark 2, 1 through 12. Leviticus 19:14. And Micah 4, 6, and 7 are some scriptures that are very powerful about people with disabilities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Could I have your email, please?
Yes, it's Nick, Nick, friend, 1954 at pacbell, PACBELL.net.
All right.